Welcome. So what I want to do is I want to verify that secant of theta minus 1 divided by 1 minus cosine of theta is equal to the secant of theta. And I kind of give you some steps on here what we can do to kind of go through this problem to verify that these two expressions are equal to each other. So one thing, we want to make sure we pick the first side, and then we want to pick the most complicated side, which I'm going to want to work with here. Now we're going to want to use our trig identities. And when looking at our trig identities, one thing that I'm going to notice is I have secant over here to the right? And I know that cosine is the reciprocal of secant. So right now, the first thing I'd probably want to do is, well, I know if I can just simplify this, as long as I use my trig identities, if I write everything in as terms of secant, then obviously there's going to be something, and I'm just going to have to look at some operations. So let's rewrite cosine in terms of secant. So I have secant of theta minus 1 divided by 1 minus 1 over secant of theta. OK, so now therefore everything's now in terms of secant. Now how can I simplify this? So one thing we want to do is, we want to get this off the denominator, right? We don't want to have we don't want to have fractions up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look ahead and convert or apply my operations. Well, to get 1 over secant off the bottom, what I can do is I can simply just multiply by, if I multiply by secant of theta on the top and the bottom, all right? And remember, as long as I multiply by the same number on the top and the bottom, I'm going to produce equivalent equations. So up top, I'm just going to kind of leave that as is for right now. I'll have secant of theta minus 1 times secant of theta. Now on the bottom, when I multiply this through, I get secant of theta, and then secant of theta times 1 over secant of theta, which we notice is just going to equal 1. So therefore, what you look at now is I have secant of theta minus 1 times secant of theta divided by secant of theta minus 1. Well, since these are the exact same terms, these can divide out from each other, and therefore I'm just left with secant of theta, which is equal to secant of theta. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you simplify using trigonometric, our trigonometric process, or our process to verify trigonometric. Thanks.